The human mind, a battlefield unseen, a silent war waged within the confines of our own consciousness. It is a conflict far more ancient and pervasive than any external struggle, a ceaseless clash of desires, fears, aspirations, and limitations. This internal struggle, often hidden beneath the veneer of daily life, shapes our perceptions, dictates our reactions, and ultimately determines the trajectory of our existence. We are, each of us, both the combatants and the terrain upon which this war is fought, and understanding its dynamics is the first step towards finding a lasting peace. From the moment we awaken, our minds are barraged by a cacophony of thoughts, emotions, and impulses. Some are conscious, deliberate, and aligned with our stated goals. Others are subterranean, arising from the murky depths of the unconscious, often contradictory and unsettling. This internal dissonance is not a sign of weakness or pathology. It is an inherent aspect of the human condition. As Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist, so eloquently articulated, the psyche is not a monolithic entity but a complex interplay of various forces, archetypes, and complexes, each vying for expression and dominance. The silent war is, in essence, the ongoing negotiation between these internal factions. Consider, for a moment, the conflict between our rational mind and our emotional self. We might intellectually understand the benefits of a healthy diet, regular exercise, or disciplined work, yet find ourselves repeatedly succumbing to instant gratification, procrastination, or self-sabotage. This is the will, armed with logic and foresight, battling against the powerful currents of habit, comfort, and primal urges. The rational mind constructs elaborate plans, sets ambitious goals, and envisions a better future, while the emotional self, often driven by past wounds and unconscious patterns, seeks immediate relief, familiar comforts, and the avoidance of discomfort. This internal tug-of-war can leave us feeling exhausted, frustrated, and perpetually stuck in a cycle of aspiration and disappointment. Another front in this silent war is the struggle between our authentic self and the persona we present to the world. From a young age, we learn to adapt, to conform, to wear masks that allow us to navigate social landscapes and gain acceptance. This persona, while necessary for social functioning, can become a cage if it completely eclipses our true nature. The war then becomes one of authenticity versus conformity, the yearning to express our unique essence against the fear of rejection or judgment. This internal conflict can manifest as a pervasive sense of unease, a feeling of living a lie, or a deep-seated anxiety that our true self will be exposed and found wanting. The battle here is for self-acceptance, for the courage to shed the masks and embrace the messy, imperfect, yet profoundly real individual beneath. The shadow, a concept central to Jungian psychology, represents another formidable adversary in this internal war. The shadow is not inherently evil, but rather comprises all the aspects of ourselves that we have repressed, denied, or deemed unacceptable. It holds our darker impulses, our unacknowledged desires, our unexpressed creativity, and our unhealed wounds. We push these aspects into the unconscious, hoping they will disappear, but they do not. Instead, they fester in the shadows, influencing our behavior in subtle yet powerful ways, often manifesting as projections onto others, irrational fears, or self-destructive patterns. The silent war with the shadow is the refusal to acknowledge these disowned parts, a refusal that perpetuates internal fragmentation and prevents true wholeness. The path to peace lies in integration, in bringing the light of consciousness to these hidden corners of the psyche, not to eradicate them, but to understand and assimilate their energy. Then there is the constant battle against the relentless tide of external pressures and societal expectations. We are bombarded by messages about what constitutes success, happiness, and a meaningful life. These external narratives, often driven by consumerism, social media, and cultural norms, can clash violently with our inner values and authentic desires. The silent war here is one of autonomy versus conditioning, the struggle to define our own path amidst a world that constantly tries to define it for us. This can lead to a profound sense of alienation, a feeling of being a cog in a machine, or a desperate attempt to keep up with an ever-shifting set of external demands. The victory in this battle is the reclamation of our inner compass, the courage to forge our own values, and the resilience to resist the siren call of external validation. The war against fear and anxiety is perhaps the most visceral and immediate of these internal conflicts. Fear, in its primal form, is a survival mechanism designed to protect us from genuine threats. But in modern life, fear often becomes untethered from reality, manifesting as chronic anxiety, irrational phobias, or a pervasive sense of dread. We fear failure, rejection, uncertainty, and even success. This fear can paralyze us, preventing us from taking risks, pursuing our dreams, or engaging fully with life. The silent war against fear is the struggle to differentiate between real danger and imagined threats, to cultivate courage in the face of uncertainty, and to develop resilience in the face of adversity. It is a battle for mental freedom, for the ability to act not from compulsion, but from conscious choice. Another significant aspect of this internal conflict is the struggle with our past. Traumas, unresolved conflicts, and limiting beliefs from childhood can cast long shadows over our present, influencing our relationships, our self-esteem, and our capacity for joy. The silent war with the past is the unconscious repetition of old patterns, the reenactment of old wounds, and the perpetuation of old narratives that no longer serve us. Healing in this context involves a courageous confrontation with these past experiences, not to relive them, but to understand their impact, to grieve what was lost, and to consciously choose a different path forward. It is a battle for liberation from the chains of history, for the freedom to define ourselves not by what happened to us, but by who we choose to become. The war against self-doubt and the inner critic is a particularly insidious one. Most of us carry an internalized voice that constantly judges, criticizes, and undermines our efforts. This inner critic, often a composite of past authority figures and societal messages, can be more brutal than any external adversary. It whispers doubts, highlights our flaws, and convinces us that we are not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. The silent war here is against this relentless barrage of negative self-talk, a battle for self-compassion, self-acceptance, and the cultivation of an inner voice that is supportive and encouraging. The victory is the quiet confidence that arises from knowing our inherent worth, regardless of external achievements or failures. Finally, there is the existential battle, the silent war against meaninglessness and the confrontation with our own mortality. In a world increasingly devoid of traditional spiritual frameworks, many individuals grapple with a profound sense of emptiness, a feeling that life lacks inherent purpose. We seek meaning in external pursuits, career, relationships, material possessions, but these often prove to be fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying. The silent war here is the search for purpose, the struggle to create meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe, and the courageous acceptance of our finitude. This battle is not won by finding a definitive answer, but by embracing the journey of inquiry, by cultivating a sense of wonder, and by committing to values that transcend our individual existence. It is a war for the soul, for the cultivation of a rich inner life that can withstand the inevitable challenges and uncertainties of human existence. In conclusion, the silent war inside your mind is a multifaceted and ongoing struggle, a complex interplay of psychological, emotional, and existential forces. It is a war that demands our conscious attention, our courageous self-reflection, and our unwavering commitment to growth. While the battles may be fierce, the ultimate victory lies not in eradication, but in integration, in learning to understand, accept, and harmonize the diverse aspects of our inner world. Only then can we transform the battlefield into a sanctuary and the silent war into a profound and enduring peace. This journey is not for the faint of heart, but the rewards, a deeper sense of self, authentic connection, and a life lived with purpose, are immeasurable. Embrace the struggle, for within it lies the key to your liberation. This internal conflict, though often unseen, leaves its marks. It manifests as chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and a pervasive sense of dissatisfaction. It can sabotage our relationships, hinder our careers, and prevent us from realizing our full potential. The mind, when at war with itself, becomes a prison, and the key to liberation lies in understanding the nature of this conflict. It is not about eliminating conflict entirely, for conflict is inherent to growth, but about transforming destructive internal warfare into a dynamic, creative tension that propels us forward. Let us delve deeper into the psychological underpinnings of this silent war. One of the primary combatants is the ego. In common parlance, ego often refers to arrogance or self-importance. However, in psychology, particularly in Freudian and Jungian traditions, the ego is the organized part of the personality structure that includes defensive, perceptual, intellectual, cognitive, and executive functions. It is the part of us that mediates between the unrealistic demands of the id, our primal urges, the moralistic demands of the superego, our internalized societal rules, and the external world. The ego's primary function is self-preservation, and it often achieves this through defense mechanisms that, while protective in the short term, can perpetuate the internal war in the long run. For instance, repression, denial, and projection might temporarily alleviate discomfort, but they push the conflict deeper into the unconscious, where it continues to exert its influence in insidious ways. The superego, another powerful internal force, acts as our internalized moral compass, our conscience. It is formed through the internalization of parental and societal rules, values, and ideals. While essential for social cohesion, an overly harsh or rigid superego can become a tyrannical inner critic, constantly judging, shaming, and punishing us for perceived transgressions or imperfections. This internal voice can fuel feelings of guilt, inadequacy, and unworthiness, leading to a perpetual state of self-condemnation. The silent war here is between our natural impulses and desires, and the internalized censor that seeks to control and suppress them. Finding peace requires a compassionate reevaluation of these internalized rules, discerning which truly serve our well-being and which are relics of past conditioning that no longer apply. Beyond the Freudian tripartite model, modern psychology offers further insights into the internal war. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for example, highlights the role of distorted thinking patterns, cognitive distortions, in perpetuating emotional distress. Catastrophizing, all-or-nothing thinking, overgeneralization, and mind reading are just a few examples of how our thoughts can become weapons against ourselves. The silent war, in this context, is the battle against these irrational and unhelpful thought patterns. The strategy involves identifying these distortions, challenging their validity, and replacing them with more balanced and realistic perspectives. This is an active, conscious effort to retrain the mind, to shift from a default mode of self-criticism and negativity to one of self-compassion and constructive thinking. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, offers another powerful lens through which to view this internal struggle. ACT suggests that much of our suffering comes not from our difficult thoughts and feelings themselves, but from our attempts to control or eliminate them. The silent war, in this view, is the futile battle against our inner experience. Instead of fighting, ACT encourages psychological flexibility, the ability to be present with our thoughts and feelings without judgment, to defuse from unhelpful narratives, and to commit to actions aligned with our values, even in the presence of discomfort. This approach transforms the internal war from one of eradication to one of acceptance and purposeful action, allowing us to live a rich and meaningful life even with the inevitable presence of internal struggles. The concept of trauma also plays a significant role in understanding the silent war. Traumatic experiences, whether acute or chronic, can fragment the psyche, leaving behind unintegrated parts that continue to react as if the threat is still present. These fragmented parts can manifest as flashbacks, hypervigilance, emotional numbness, or self-destructive behaviors. The silent war, in this case, is the ongoing struggle of the traumatized self to find safety and integration. Healing involves creating a safe space for these wounded parts, acknowledging their pain, and gradually integrating them back into the whole. This is a process of profound self-compassion and often requires professional guidance to navigate the complex terrain of memory and emotion. Neuroscience, too, sheds light on the physiological basis of this internal conflict. Our brains are not static entities but dynamic systems constantly being shaped by our experiences. The interplay between different brain regions, the amygdala, our fear center, the prefrontal cortex, our rational decision-making center, and the hippocampus, our memory center, can either foster internal harmony or perpetuate conflict. Chronic stress, for instance, can shrink the hippocampus and impair the prefrontal cortex, making it harder to regulate emotions and think clearly, thus fueling the internal war. Understanding these neural pathways empowers us to engage in practices like mindfulness, meditation, and exercise that can literally rewire the brain, strengthening the pathways for peace and resilience. The silent war is also deeply intertwined with our relationships. Our earliest experiences with caregivers shape our attachment styles, influencing how we relate to others and how we perceive ourselves. Insecure attachment, whether anxious or avoidant, can lead to internal conflicts around intimacy, trust, and self-worth. We might crave connection yet fear vulnerability, or push others away while secretly longing for closeness. These internal contradictions play out in our relationships, creating cycles of misunderstanding and pain. The war here is for secure attachment, for the ability to form healthy, fulfilling relationships that are built on trust, open communication, and mutual respect. This often involves healing old wounds and developing new patterns of relating, both to ourselves and to others. Finally, the silent war is a spiritual battle. Beyond the psychological and neurological, there is a deeper yearning for meaning, purpose, and transcendence. In a secularized world, many individuals experience a spiritual void, a sense of disconnection from something larger than themselves. This can manifest as existential angst, a feeling of aimlessness, or a desperate search for external validation. The war here is for the soul, for the cultivation of a rich inner life that can withstand the inevitable challenges and uncertainties of human existence. It is a battle for connection to our deepest values, to a sense of purpose that transcends fleeting pleasures, and to a spiritual dimension that nourishes the soul. This might involve exploring philosophical traditions, engaging in contemplative practices, or finding meaning in service to others. The victory is not a definitive answer, but a profound and ongoing journey of discovery. In essence, the silent war inside your mind is the human struggle for wholeness. It is the journey from fragmentation to integration, from unconscious reactivity to conscious choice, from internal conflict to inner peace. It is a war that demands courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about ourselves. But it is also a war that offers the greatest reward: the liberation of the self, the capacity for authentic living, and the profound joy of being truly at home within one's own mind. The path is arduous, but every step taken towards understanding and integration is a step towards a more harmonious and fulfilling existence. The silent war is not a curse, but an invitation to become the architect of your own inner peace, to transform the battlefield into a sanctuary, and to discover the boundless potential that lies within a mind at rest with itself. This is the ultimate freedom, the profound peace that comes from knowing and integrating all aspects of who you are. And it is a peace worth fighting for. The journey into the silent war is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a deeply embodied experience. Our bodies are the physical repositories of our emotional histories, and the internal conflicts we face often manifest as physical symptoms: chronic tension, digestive issues, autoimmune disorders, and a pervasive sense of fatigue. The mind-body connection is not a metaphor, it is a biological reality. The silent war, therefore, must be fought not just in the realm of thought, but also in the realm of sensation, breath, and movement. Somatic therapies, which focus on the body's role in healing trauma and emotional distress, offer powerful tools for navigating this aspect of the internal war. Practices like yoga, tai chi, and somatic experiencing help us to reconnect with the wisdom of the body, to release stored tension, and to regulate a dysregulated nervous system. By paying attention to the subtle cues of the body, the tightening in the chest, the knot in the stomach, the shallowness of breath, we can begin to understand the physical language of our internal conflicts. This embodied awareness allows us to move beyond intellectual understanding and engage with our struggles on a deeper, more visceral level. The body, when listened to, becomes a powerful ally in the quest for inner peace, a source of grounding, resilience, and intuitive guidance. The role of creativity in the silent war cannot be overstated. Art, in all its forms, provides a powerful outlet for the expression of internal conflict. Painting, writing, music, dance. These are not mere hobbies, but essential tools for externalizing the inner world, for giving form to the formless, and for transforming pain into beauty. When we create, we engage in a dialogue with our unconscious, allowing hidden aspects of ourselves to emerge and be seen. This creative process can be profoundly cathartic, offering a sense of release and a deeper understanding of our own complexities. The silent war, when channeled through creativity, can become a source of profound inspiration, a catalyst for personal growth, and a testament to the transformative power of the human imagination. Our relationship with technology is another crucial front in the modern silent war. While technology offers unprecedented opportunities for connection and information, it also presents significant challenges to our mental well-being. The constant influx of notifications, the curated perfection of social media, and the addictive nature of digital platforms can exacerbate feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, and disconnection. The silent war in this context is the struggle for digital mindfulness, for the conscious use of technology in a way that serves our well-being rather than undermines it. This involves setting boundaries, cultivating periods of digital detox, and engaging with online content in a more critical and discerning manner. It is a battle for our attention, for the ability to be present in our own lives, and for the preservation of the quiet, reflective spaces that are so essential for inner peace. The silent war is also a war of narratives. We are all storytellers, constantly constructing narratives about who we are, what has happened to us, and what the future holds. These stories, often operating at an unconscious level, shape our reality and determine our emotional responses. A story of victimhood, for example, will lead to feelings of powerlessness and resentment, while a story of resilience will foster courage and hope. The silent war in this narrative framework is the struggle to become the conscious author of our own life story. This involves identifying the limiting narratives that hold us back, challenging their validity, and actively constructing new, more empowering narratives that are aligned with our values and aspirations. It is a process of rewriting the past, reframing the present, and reimagining the future, a testament to the power of language to shape our inner world. In the end, the silent war inside your mind is a journey of homecoming. It is the long and often arduous path back to our authentic selves, to the core of our being that lies beneath the layers of conditioning, trauma, and societal expectation. It is a journey that requires immense courage, unwavering honesty, and a profound commitment to self-discovery. But it is also a journey that is filled with moments of grace, insight, and profound connection. The silent war, when embraced as a path of growth, becomes a sacred pilgrimage, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a celebration of the beautiful, messy, and ultimately miraculous journey of becoming whole. The peace that awaits is not a static, unchanging state, but a dynamic, ever-evolving dance with the complexities of life, a peace that is not found, but created, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. This is the art of living, the ultimate victory in the silent war, and the greatest gift we can give to ourselves and to the world. To truly engage with the silent war, we must cultivate a deeper relationship with our inner landscape. This involves not just intellectual understanding, but also emotional literacy. Many of us grow up in environments where certain emotions are deemed unacceptable or dangerous. We learn to suppress anger, fear, sadness, or even joy, creating internal dams that prevent the free flow of our emotional energy. This suppression, while seemingly protective, only pushes these emotions into the unconscious, where they continue to exert their influence, often manifesting as anxiety, depression, or physical ailments. The silent war, in this context, is the battle to reclaim our full emotional spectrum, to allow ourselves to feel what we feel without judgment, and to develop healthy ways of processing and expressing our emotions. This emotional fluency is a cornerstone of psychological well-being, allowing us to navigate the complexities of life with greater resilience and authenticity. Another critical aspect of this internal journey is the cultivation of self-compassion. In a world that often emphasizes self-criticism and relentless striving, self-compassion can feel counterintuitive. Yet, It is precisely when we are struggling, when we are facing our deepest fears and insecurities, that we need kindness and understanding the most. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same warmth, care, and non-judgmental acceptance that we would offer to a dear friend. It is about recognizing that suffering is a universal human experience, and that our own struggles are part of this shared humanity. When we cultivate self-compassion, we disarm the inner critic, heal old wounds, and create an internal sanctuary where we can find solace and strength. This is not self-pity or self-indulgence, but a powerful act of self-love that fuels our capacity for growth and resilience. The silent war also involves a reevaluation of our relationship with failure. In a society that often glorifies success and demonizes failure, many of us develop a deep-seated fear of making mistakes or falling short of expectations. This fear can paralyze us, preventing us from taking risks, pursuing our passions, or learning from our experiences. The silent war, in this context, is the battle against perfectionism, against the fear of judgment, and against the limiting belief that our worth is tied to our achievements. Embracing failure as a natural and necessary part of the learning process, as an opportunity for growth and resilience, is a profound act of liberation. It allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity and experimentation, knowing that every setback is a stepping stone on the path to mastery. Furthermore, the silent war calls us to examine our relationship with time. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, many of us feel perpetually rushed, overwhelmed, and disconnected from the present moment. We are constantly planning for the future, regretting the past, or multitasking in an attempt to squeeze more into our already overflowing schedules. This relentless pursuit of efficiency often comes at the expense of presence, joy, and genuine connection. The silent war in this temporal dimension is the battle against the tyranny of the clock, against the illusion that more is always better, and against the tendency to live in a perpetual state of anticipation or regret. Cultivating mindfulness, slowing down, and savoring the present moment are powerful acts of rebellion against this modern malaise. It is about reclaiming our time, not just in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, allowing us to live more fully, more consciously, and more authentically. Finally, the silent war is a call to embrace our own unique journey. In a world that often encourages conformity and comparison, it can be challenging to forge our own path, to listen to the whispers of our own soul, and to trust our inner wisdom. We are bombarded by messages about what constitutes a successful life, a happy relationship, or a meaningful career. These external blueprints, while seemingly helpful, can often lead us astray, pulling us away from our authentic desires and unique talents. The silent war, in this context, is the battle for self-sovereignty, for the courage to define our own values, to pursue our own passions, and to create a life that is truly our own. It is a journey of self-discovery, self-creation, and self-actualization, a testament to the boundless potential that lies within each of us to live a life of purpose, passion, and profound fulfillment. This is the ultimate victory in the silent war, the peace that comes from being truly at home within oneself, and the joy of living a life that is an authentic expression of who you are meant to be.